visualization, it's like bringing your mind, your heart, and your soul together to create something beautiful. You bring your mind because you need to train your mind to focus. Your soul is who you are, who God made you to be. Hopefully your goals are in line with your
soul purpose.
Your soul purpose. And then your heart is that feeling that you get from the visualization. It brings everything together.
So it's kind of like when you get put in uncomfortable positions, but you know you have to succeed, visualizing comes natural, planning comes natural, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you have to do it.
Because you took that risk.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like just putting yourself in a position where you know you're uncomfortable, but you know and you believe that you could do it. You write it down, you visualize it, and things will come in fruition and it will happen.
The material things, those are the easiest to visualize at first. And those probably create the most feeling. But as you do it more, you're going to start feeling those ones that are bigger than you, that are bigger than material. The ones about inspiring people, the ones about getting up and speaking to people, the ones about writing a book, the ones about, and let's say if your goal is to write a book, you might visualize yourself after the book already released at a press release, talking to people about the book, talking to people about how successful the book has been and what that book means to you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of the Infinite Charge podcast. I'm so glad to be back. I believe this is episode 11. So today we have a very powerful topic once again. Today we're going to be talking about the power of visualization. We've talked about electricity before. We've talked about the power of planting, and we've talked about all of these analogies that represent just the spiritual nature of reaping and sowing. But today we're really going to get involved with just the actual process of manifesting things and manifesting that charge that we want to be able to go out into the world.
Yeah, and just talk about the mind because, you know, visualizing requires you using your mind.
Exactly. Yep. So before we even really get into this topic, we just open us up in prayer. I guess you open us up.
All right. Lord, thank you for just giving me the ability to wake up every day with fresh breath of air. Thank you for giving me a bed to lay on at night, Lord. Thank you for giving me the ability or the opportunity to be in college and further my education. Thank you for the friends around me, Lord. Thank you for my mom and all of my loved ones, and put me in a position to really further myself and the people around me, Lord, because I feel like that's my calling on this earth, Lord. And thank you for this podcast. I mean, it's just so much gratitude and so much things you do for me, Lord, that can't go unnoticed. So just forgive me for all my sins, Lord. Forgive me for being inconsistent with communication with you, Lord. But today I'm stepping foot in the right track, Lord. In Jesus' name I say amen.
Amen. Powerful prayer, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So speaking on today's topic, the power of visualization, before we could even get into the power of visualization, like the process of learning how to do it, I just want to share. I mean, we both can share our experiences with visualization and what it's meant to us so far and what it means to where we want to go. I can remember I always remember my father telling me about this specific NBA player, Dwight Howard, how before his career, he wrote out all of his goals in a notebook, and he would visualize it every night before bed. And then he kept that notebook with him. And he would visualize it, then he would pray. And he would do that over time. And my father told me this years ago when I was a kid, but I didn't really actually start getting into visualization myself until after I was a junior in high school. This was spring of junior year, and I just had one of the worst academic years and basketball seasons of my life.
Wow.
A lot of it was very challenging, but I was on an upward spiral. Like I had gotten some things together, and I really wanted to get my life together. And then I was like, you know what? I want to start reading books, but I don't have time to physically sit there and read. So I was like, I want to look for the perfect audio book for me to just listen to get me into books so that I could start listening to audio books, and then when I have time, start reading. And then
Wow.
I just looked up. I went into YouTube and literally looked up like powerful book or something like that. And then and then the search results came up. You could probably look this up now using what that term I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And the results came up, and it was like, this book will change everything in all caps. And it was like the thumbnail had like a brain on it or something. And then I'm like, this book will change everything. Okay. And then I clicked on it, I listened to it. I'll never forget. Me and my mom was taking me to one of my AAU tournaments in Pittsburgh Jam Fest, when I played for my AAU team. And I was, like I said, I was in the process of getting my life together. And so I stumbled across this book, and I just listened to it. And it was crazy because the dude, so first of all, the narrator, the person who's narrating didn't write the book, but pretty much the author was talking about the power of visualization. And just to summarize his book, he talked about how him and his wife were suffering from the recession of 2008, I believe. Or maybe this was way earlier. I do know that they were going through hard times at some point financially, and he knew he wanted to get things together. So he got a notebook and just wrote out like, I forget how many goals. It was no more than like 10 or 11, 12. He wrote these goals out, and all of these goals span from areas of finance to his life purpose to his relationship with God. He wrote out, and then even like he threw in goals like, it was this Lexus that he really wanted to drive. He wanted to start an organization to help people in need, things like that. He wanted to visit. He wanted to have a vacation house in a certain, like a specific area that he visualized. And this dude, he wrote everything out. And then I remember he got pictures of things that were related to those goals, like put together like a little bit of a vision board, something like that. And he called it the hour of power. He would go to the beach every morning, and he would just sit there, and he would look at his notebook. He would bring scripture as well. He would open up his scripture with prayer, open up his notebook, close his eyes on the beach, and just he would just sink into his visions, and he would visualize so intensely to the point that he could feel every detail. Like, for instance, the Lexus that he wanted, he could see all of everything in the features in the car.
How it felt, how the seats felt.
Yep.
How the steering wheel felt.
Absolutely. And he could do that through just repetition of visualization. Right. And he kept doing this, and he kept working towards each and every goal. Notice how I said he kept working. Yeah. He didn't just visualize, which we will talk about that.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, but and then as the story goes, like, his visions would come to pass even more grand than what he even visualized. Like, his cup ran over. Yeah. Wow. And that's just how I got into it. And I'm going to share a little bit more about my journey, but how did you get into visualization?
Visualization, man, it's like, it's something I'm still kind of getting into. Yeah. Like, but I remember me and you had a moment where you told me about visualization and how powerful it was. You know, you took a month. August is when you visualized for the whole month of August. And I remember we took it upon ourselves to really visualize that month in August. Yeah. And that's when it really changed. Like, I visualized myself running 49.4 that year in track, and I did that. And I remember that because it's like I visualized it on the exact day I wanted to run it. And it's like, yeah, visualization might sound hard or it is kind of difficult, but when you're aligned and when you really focus and when you really want something, you have a desire for it, you're naturally gonna visualize towards it because that's what your life depends on. You feel like that's your purpose.
Absolutely.
So me with visualizing, I don't really have much, but I want to get into visualization more.
Yeah, back to that. When you said me and you had that moment when we talked about we talked deeply. We had many conversations where we could just be talking for hours, but this one specifically stands out because I never forget. This was in it like during COVID. This was August 2020, I believe. Like right after, like, you know, things were kind of starting to get normal right after the pandemic, and it was the end of both of our senior years had ended two months before, but we were just talking, and I remember we walked around the neighborhood. Like, this is the first time me and Ty had seen each other in a minute and really kicked it. And then I remember we just came back and we were just out on the porch just talking for like hours, man. Like, I mean, and then I remember I ended up sharing with him the story of my journey with visualization. So picking up where I left off, how I discovered that book, I read it and I was blown away. This guy's testimony about how, and I will put the link to this audio book and the name of the actual book in the description or in the show notes, wherever you're listening or watching. But I was just so blown away. I'm like, I have to do this for myself. And just a little bit of background on my high school experience. I ran for General Student Council president like junior year, and I was blessed enough to win. And after I had won that, like, this is after I listened to the book, but I still didn't have my goals written out and my vision set up. Wow. So when I had won that position, it's like, okay, what now? It's like, and then I remember I won and I was feeling the pressure because, you know, like, whenever you step out and you take a risk to create some electricity or to further your process of self-actualization, whenever you take a risk, you deal with certain things, with voices from people around you, or maybe
you're uncertain,
right?
You know, you do.
Yeah.
I'm just agreeing with what you said.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, but it was like I was dealing with that intensely, and it's like, okay, rather than listen to these voices and try and argue with these voices, what can I do to set myself up to be prepared for not only this position, but it was my senior year of basketball. A lot of, like, you know, I wanted to do well with that. Senior year of academics, my last chance to prove myself academically, even though junior year was the most important year. But coming off of like a rough junior year, it's like I want to prove myself in all areas. And especially since I have this president role, everything else is going to be magnified and looked at. Like, I can't be screwing around in the classroom because as student council president, I have to set a
standard. Yeah.
Right. I have to set a good example. So I was like, you know what? I'm blown away by this guy's testimony. I'm going to take what he did, put my own spin on it, and do it. So I'll never forget, it was May. I had just won, and I'm like, man, like, what am I getting myself into? So I was like, I got my Bible study notebook. I've been doing Bible study in this notebook since freshman year. And I just went to the back of the notebook, and I wrote down 14 goals. 14 goals, and these goals span from things like that, like, and when I say I wrote down these goals, it would be like, okay, I wouldn't write it like how people typically write goals. Like, let's say one of the goals was, I wish I had this notebook with me right now, but one of the goals was like, I am actively inspiring my peers as the General Student Council president. Notice how I said that. I didn't say I plan to inspire my peers as president. I said I am actively inspiring my peers as president. Every goal that I had, and I even had things like material things, like there was a car that I really wanted that year and I didn't get it, which is, you know, some things you visualize you won't get, but for things that are bigger than you, for things that are going to push your story forward, expect those things that come to pass, like, are in some way, shape, or form first, and then the material things come soon.
Yeah, that comes with it.
Yeah, exactly. But I wrote all of these goals, every 14 goal that I had, every goal of like all of the 14 goals that I had, I wrote it as if I had accomplished it, or if I already had
spoke it into existence.
Exactly. And then what I did was, once I wrote everything down as if I already had it, I took. Now this is gonna sound very like crazy. You don't have to do this, but for me, like I had access to it, so I took some anointing oil and I put a big cross down the middle of that page just to solidify it. I laid my hand on it, I prayed over it, and then from that day on, I would visualize every once in a while. But when August came around, this was August 2019, not 20. I was like, the school year was right around the corner, so it's like, yo, I have to really take this serious. I remember it was 2 or 3 weeks straight. I was on vacation in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I visualized every morning of that vacation. Not every morning. It was every night before bed. I put my headphones in, play like some like spiritual instrumentals or whatever, and then I would just focus my mind and imagine each and every goal as if I already achieved it, and I would imagine how I would feel after achieving it, and I would imagine me making the people around me better. I would imagine each and every goal, and at the very beginning it was very difficult, but as I stuck to it and I kept imagining these things, visualizing these things, it would become more and more precise.
And then another thing, like you said with the story, that guy, the only reason why he even took action to visualize was because he was in a horrible position. You know what I mean? And with you were put on the spot because you got elected as president.
Right.
So it's kind of like when you get put in uncomfortable positions, but you know you have to succeed, like visualizing comes natural, planning comes natural, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you have to do it.
Because you took that risk.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like just putting yourself in a position where you know you're uncomfortable, but you know and you believe that you could do it. You write it down, you visualize it, and things will come in for fruition, and it will happen.
Exactly. And man, just thinking about it, I still get goosebumps because it's like, it's this powerful stuff. So during that August, I took that time to do that, and I'll never forget, like, by the first week of school, I knew that, yo, like, something is different this year. And I could tell, other people could tell, but I just knew things were just surprisingly easier. Like, my vision was clear.
Wow.
Things like, bro, I remember just I remember just being in position to accomplish all of my goals. Like, I wish I had and I'm going to expand on this. Like, we're so young, man. I know that all of these things that we've been through so far, like, we're going to speak on these stories, like, for years to come. And even things that are going to happen in the future, we're going to speak on even further down the line. But I know, like, at this time, like, as of right now, like, I just know that this time period was when I just knew, like, yo, like, this stuff works. It's crazy. Like, I remember it is, so September comes around, and then I got, like, September senior of the month. Like, it was like stuff like that. Like, I was getting recognized as somebody who I was getting recognized as the person that I saw in my visions. Wow. That I didn't even know that was me just yet. But the people were seeing me as the person that I saw in my visions.
Because you've seen yourself as it first.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, in that moment, it's like I could have freaked out and been like, whoa, like, oh, like, whoa, this is kind of scary. Let me take it easy. Let me slow down a little bit. I'm going a little fast. But then it was just like, you know what? Let me continue to talk to God. And I didn't even have to visualize that much during the year. I did periodically, but that's why I called it the August month of power, because if just one focused month of visualizing, it could even be just a week or two. It will make a difference for months and months and months.
Exactly, because it carries you on, and and you're walking with a purpose, you know?
Exactly. But I don't have the list in front of me. I wish I had it, but I could just say there was like goals in areas of basketball, and areas of academics, and in areas of life. And all I'm going to say is that I was a part, basketball-wise, it was my best season ever, and I was a part of the best basketball team in my school's history at the time, back in high school. And then as far as academics, like I won like so much money worth of scholarships by the end of the year. I had very respectable grades throughout the year. It was like my grades weren't as great as I visualized, but I put in the effort enough to be recognized as a good student. And then as far as life was the life goals, like as far as purpose and stuff, that year gave me so much. God gave me so much to look at, and so much to like, so many different awards and recognitions from people for things that I wasn't necessarily just doing senior year, but for things that I've been doing for years before. It's just I took the risk and wanted to become president, and it was just like so many goals, like so many things on that list. It was just like, wow, this is crazy. The person that I saw in my visions, these people see me as. And it's like, yo, this stuff really works. And that's what, and I know I have
a lot of people
now.
do this. Like a lot of successful people do this.
Exactly.
You know, Nipsey Hussle, Jay-Z.
Yup.
You know, Dame Lillard.
Yup.
He visualized all them buzzer beaters in the playoffs before he actually took them.
Exactly.
So
this isn't like, honestly, everything is spiritual in some way, and this is definitely spiritual, but it's not even like, bro, like,
I feel like
it's
it
action.
Is spiritual though.
Yeah.
It is action, but it is spiritual as well, I think.
It is.
I think if you could see it in your mind, you could feel it in your hands, you could get it in your hands.
Exactly. So let's really get into that's just some background information on the journey. I actually have a little structure to stick to, but just getting into just the topic, I would like to read an excerpt from this book called The Mind's Eye by Oliver Sacks. And I read this senior year as well. And this excerpt that I'm about to read, just to preface it a little bit, this part of the book, they were focused on a guy who was blind, but this guy he had some unique abilities when it comes to his mind. He was blind, but his mind's eye, which could be considered his third eye, however you want to classify it, it was so strong that he can visualize like everything. Like he doesn't have to see, but wow. But because of the fact that he lost his vision, he trained his mind to be so strong that it was even one part of in this book where they said the guy was on the roof at nighttime repairing his roof, like laying down shingles on the roof. Like usually when you see guys working on a roof, it's like in the middle of the day. This dude was on a roof in the middle of the night laying down some shingles, and he's blind. But it's like
can't see.
Like, you know, like the Marvel character Daredevil?
No.
Oh, but the dude, it's like he's like that too. Like he's blind, but like he can like he's a superhero. Like he could do like all types of stuff. But like pretty much like this guy was a real person, and he could visualize. Like they said, like he shared with people that he could create like a 3D image of like his whole like neighborhood, like almost like some Google Maps type stuff
that's crazy.
In his mind. Yeah.
Yo, that is
bro
beyond me.
That's what I'm saying. Like I remember listening to this like senior, like, yo, like what?
What? Yeah, like what? But then you gotta look back and really realize, bro, our mind is powerful. Like,
it is.
Our mind is capable of all these things, man.
It is.
Our mind is really limitless, for real.
It is. But it's like, and then it comes, you know how people say you only have access to like 10% of your mind or something like that.
Or it was 1%?
Nah, it's not 1%. It's like, it's somewhere, it's either 10% or just underneath 10%.
Or 9 or 8, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Some people may be 1%, but but yeah, nah. But this dude, like, I could tell that he had trained his mind to be able to go beyond that 10% to a certain degree. But let me read this excerpt, because we just want to like allow people to understand the potential of the mind and just how powerful our minds truly are if we use them the way that they're intended to be used. So it reads, to what extent are we the authors, the creators of our own experiences? How much are these predetermined by the brains or senses we are born with? And to what extent do we shape our brains through experience? The effects of a profound perceptual deprivation, such as blindness, may cast an unexpected light on these questions. Going blind, especially later in life, presents one with the huge, potentially overwhelming challenge to find a new way of living, of ordering one's world when the old has been destroyed. Yeah, crazy.
Like seeing your whole life and then just going blind.
Exactly. It's probably traumatic.
That's crazy.
Yup. But this guy.
But how do you if it is traumatic, like how do you deal with it? Like, you know what I mean? Like how, like, are you seeing things in your mind? Like, are you seeing pain in your mind? If that makes sense.
I don't know exactly what it looks like. I would imagine that what this guy was seeing is very similar to a daydream, because this guy actually had his vision before, so he was able to see. He knows what a TV looks like. Or he knows what a camera looks like, what a table or chair looks like. So, like, just like, and that's like in preference to what we're saying with the visualizations, you can create an image board. Like, if you want a certain car, or if you want a certain material thing, which we all have those things that we want, you could get a picture of that thing and look at that thing, and that will aid you in your visualization process.
Exactly. Like, I'm talking about a real detailed picture. Like, right. The inside, the interior,
right.
The trunk.
Hell, watch videos.
The video, like, if the engine, like, you can hear the engine sound.
Yep. Those little details make a big difference. So, pretty much.
Coffee holder.
Yeah, this guy, because he had his vision before, and it was drastically taken away from him, he had to dig deep and remember what everything looked like. And I'm sure is an adjustment period, but because he trained his mind, because he had no choice but to adapt or either just be subservient and have somebody else doing everything for you, or die. Yeah, like you said, or die. And this guy chose to adapt. And that's the thing. That's why when it comes to visualizations, I feel like that when you take a risk, or whenever I feel like it's like you need to put yourself in a challenging situation for you to really want to get the most out of your visualizations.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, because this guy in the mind's eye in the book, his mind wouldn't have expanded to be like that if he never lost his vision.
Exactly.
And that's an extreme example, but like I never would have gotten a visualization if I didn't put myself in position in a high pressure situation, at least what I viewed as a high pressure situation. You know what I mean? So, but even if you aren't willing to do that just yet, you can still get something out of visualization. So that was the excerpt from the mind's eye. But yeah, like just talking about like the process, like it's like, I hope we aren't overcomplicating it. We all have access to a pen and paper. We all know, at least have an idea of what we want in life. And if you don't, like, what would your...
I feel like, bro, if you really want something, it's going to be natural to visualize. You know what I mean?
Right. That is true.
Like, if you really, really want something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about really want it, I feel like it will be easy to visualize, or you will be led to visualizing and getting the hang of visualizing it, because it's going to be yours one day. That's what you got to believe. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think about, like, you know, me and you, we used to hoop when we was younger. Mm-hmm. You'd be out there visualizing, taking that game winner.
Yeah, acting like I was in that position.
Exactly.
Winding the clock down, waiting to shoot it.
Exactly. Or even kids, like, you know,
they got the greatest visualization, the greatest imagination, the greatest.
Exactly. They're able.
I feel like being a consumer really destroys your imagination. Like watching TV for 8 hours, it really destroys your imagination, and you just consuming something, and it's kind of destroying your brain.
Wow. Yeah.
What would you say about that?
I would say that the mind is a muscle. And
you gotta exercise
because it's a muscle,
and that's taking risks as well. Like if you too comfortable and you don't want to take a risk, you're never gonna get stronger. You're never gonna adapt. You're never gonna find out who you really are to your core.
Right. Yeah. the mind is a muscle, and you're so right that when you talk about TV and things that are lowering our vibration and making it harder for us to visualize, it's because our attention spans are becoming so
smaller and
small. Yeah, and it's like to put somebody who isn't used to visualizing in a situation where they have to visualize and focus on something for more than what their attention span allows, it would be like torture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So knowing that the mind is a muscle, there's one thing I found out how I get the most out of my visualizations now, at least, because I've been doing it for a little bit. I kind of been slacking during the school year, but I'm getting back on it since it's winter break. But a little warm up to get my mind ready. Deep breathing, breathe in and out, trying to focus on nothing. Or maybe if I want to prepare myself with my eyes open, I can maybe grab an object. Like I would grab a basketball and just look at it. Just focus on nothing. Clear my mind and just focus on it. Because by being able to train that muscle to...
That's a good tactic.
Yeah, to just focus on one thing, like, and then just be present. Because the thing is about visualization is presence, right? You feel as if you already have it. It's right there. You're present.
Because you're in the present in your mind.
Exactly. So that's what it's about. So to get them, for people who are new to it, I would say grab something, preferably a round object or something, just grab something that it don't have to be anything of significance. Just grab it and just focus on that thing and clear your mind. Or you can also, if you don't want to grab something, close your eyes and just focus on your eyelids. Just pure blackness and breathing as well, breathing in and out. That's how I focus myself. And I even, this is good. This is just something I always do. I close my mind, like my eyes, and I put my two hands here. I put the other finger there, and I just say focus. I put it on the temple as I breathe in. Focus. Like, I don't say it out loud. I say it in my mind. But by me telling my mind to focus, it's like, okay, we're about to go to work. So you have to, like, before, the mind is a muscle, and you have to stretch it before you visualize. Yeah, so, yep.
Yeah, it's like I could go on and on about visualization.
Right.
Because I feel like once I start really doing this, I feel like things is going to start to manifest for me in my life.
Right. And I mean, if you're listening to this now, how many days do we have left in this year? You can start visualizing today, and every day into the new year.
Yeah, and then make it a habit now, and then it will be natural by the new year.
Exactly.
Maybe, you know?
Exactly. I mean, I visualized for 2 weeks, and I'll never forget just the immediate change that I saw. And when we say visualize, we don't mean just daydream and visualize and neglect the execution. We mean visualize and execute.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to continue to work because, faith without works is dead.
It's dead. Yeah, and it's like, I feel like if you really want something, you're going to naturally visualize. Like, I'm going to keep saying that over and over again.
Exactly.
Because it's true, man. I feel like one day we're going to get to a point in life where, our back is really going to be against the wall, and it's really going to take everything out of us, and we're going to have to give everything we got.
Yep.
And I feel like that's when the beast is going to come out of the both of us.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, that's where electricity has its place. When your back is against the wall and you have to create something, it's either up or, you know what I mean? Like, you just have to get out of that hole in some way. And, if you don't take risks, you're going to end up in a hole eventually. So why not? Take a risk. Because what's the worst thing that could happen, right? I would rather take a risk and put myself in a risky situation.
You learn a lot from taking risk, man.
As opposed to not doing anything and ending up in a bad situation. Like,
you might end up in a terrible situation trying to avoid taking risks.
Yes, it happens to a lot of people.
And God might put you in that position because He see that you're playing with your potential. Like I said, you have to take risks to really know what's inside of you. You have to feel something that you fear,
right,
in order to really know who you are. Because, and this is why you should be journaling too, because you write down your fears, man. Then 5 months, 10 months later, a year later, look back and you're not even going to have that fear anymore because you faced it and you wrote it down in the journal. You thought it was the end of the world. And now look, a year later, that's nothing. You got new problems to face. But that's life.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because once you accomplish that thing you visualize, the beauty is you go to the next level. Now you can write down something more challenging.
Yeah, and life is never going to be easy, man. Let's just get that straight. Like,
it's not.
Life will never be easy. Never, ever, ever be easy. Every time you reach a goal, there's going to be another goal for you to reach. Or not even a goal. Every time you experience something, it's going to be another experience you have to go through after that.
That's how it works, man. That's how it works. Yep. So just a few things that you can do right now as the and listener or the viewer or whatever.
I don't even know why we want things to be easy. Like, for me, like, I be wanting things to be easy.
Right.
Even though in my mind I know things won't be easy ever.
Well, you know what?
I think it's just human nature.
It's human nature, because we as humans, we want to be in the most comfortable situation possible. If there's any stimuli that is making us feel like we are in a situation that's dangerous, it don't even have to be like your life is at risk. It could be public speaking. People have real side effects from being, you know what I mean, being exposed to a situation that is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like anxiety, like everybody has some type of reaction to uncomfortable situations, but the whole your mind will trick you, your senses will trick you to get you to avoid a situation that you probably should be in, but that your mind and your body don't want to deal with the stress of being in that uncomfortable situation. And that's the power of the mind. See, the mind is so powerful that it could get you to
back out of
things. Okay, let's say if you got to do something challenging, all of a sudden your stomach hurts, and then your mind is like, what's going on with that? Whoa, you should address that. What you mean you gonna go out on a stage in front of them people and, well, your stomach hurt, man. What's up with that?
Exactly.
You better go take a shit.
Nah, bro, for real.
Better get the Alka-Seltzer.
For real.
The prune juice.
For real,
what you
bro.
mean you gonna go out there? What you gonna tell them again? Oh, you about to fart?
Yeah, and then the whole time that speech you was practicing was gonna be beautiful if you executed it.
Exactly. I mean, the body is going to push back. The mind is going to push back. The people around you are going to push back. Life is going to push back. But what are you going to do with that pushback? Are you going to allow it to push you, or are you going to push through?
It's so easy to just get pushed and fall.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, it's exhilarating though.
Yeah, but falling is an okay thing, because then you learn to get back up and then you learn not to do it again.
Yeah, but if you just got pushed down like a little bitch, you probably get pushed down again. You know what I mean?
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? People, we learn, but it's like I don't know, because every time you get pushed down, you could lose confidence in yourself, because it's like, damn, I had the perfect opportunity to stand up to this, and I let it push me out the way again. And then you thinking that, and it's like,
at that point, you know what you're doing. Like, you're just being weak.
You're being weak, and then you might start feeding yourself some negative thoughts, because it's like, damn, maybe I'm not as strong. Maybe I can't fake, because it pushed you. But it's like, your mind is so tricky. Like, learning to control it is essential.
You got to keep it in shape, man. You got to keep challenging it.
Reading.
As
cliche as it sounds.
Reading, and then just beyond, just solving things.
Yes.
Is good for your mind and healthy.
Yes, I remember my nana. She used to, entertainment for her was different. Like, obviously she liked to watch TV like regular people. And we know TV is cool, but it's not really challenging the mind most times.
No,
it depends on what you're watching, but most stuff is just for entertainment. It doesn't really challenge the mind. But my nana would sit there for hours a day doing crossword puzzles, playing Bejeweled.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was so sharp in the mind, because she she worked it out every day. Like little things, little games like that it's like, to stay in shape, you need to get out and exercise. You could do little exercises for your mind. You could do little things to stimulate that focus, or to stimulate that decision making, the ability to see problems through. Like, you can do things like that. Like, and it doesn't always have to be something. It doesn't have to be viewed as boring. Mind exercises are viewed as boring, and that's the issue. Is not entertaining. But then at the same token, most things that are entertaining,
it's bad. Like, it's spoiling and rotting your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mind.
Exactly. Yep. So just a few things that people can do. Number one, I encourage everybody, if you're still listening to this podcast, obviously you're somebody who's really into what we're talking about. And we would encourage you to go and listen to the audiobook. The book is called Visualization by Peter Adams. You could either find that book wherever, whether it's Amazon or going to a library or whatever, or you can just get the free audiobook on YouTube. It's actually entitled "This Book Will Change Everything," and it's Visualization by Peter Adams. And then once you listen to that, we would encourage you to create a list of 7 to 12 goals. I would encourage, the shorter the list, the better when starting out with this, because you want to really focus in on those 7. If those 7 goals you have, write them as if you already accomplished them, and then visualize how you would feel after you've already
every
accomplished
day at
it.
night.
Yeah, exactly. And the less the better, because I found that when I first started, I couldn't visualize all 12 goals in one day. I would just break it in half. Like, if it was 12 goals that I had, I think it was 12. I would break it in half. So I would do 6 one day, and then the next day I would do the other 6, because I found that my mind was not strong enough to sit there and visualize 12 scenarios. Yeah,
and that's fine.
Exactly. The stronger your mind gets, the more you'll be able to visualize in one sitting. So I encourage you to do that, create that list, and then, like I said, visualize how you would feel as if you already accomplished them. And what is the significance of what do you think that does when somebody visualizes the feeling, like as if they already did that thing?
I feel like
can you create the feeling in your mind?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
I think you definitely can.
Yep. I mean, I just had to ask because, I know, but I wanted to get your take on it, because whenever I bring that to somebody, it's like, you mean you can create? Most people believe that feelings are a direct result of some action that was taken either by you or against you, or something, by some reaction of the mind from something that you saw or sensed.
Sorry to cut you off,
you good.
But the simple answer I would give is your outside reality is just a reflection of what's inside of you.
Right.
That would be my short answer.
That's true. The feelings are important, because it's like usually for me, it's like emotions and feelings are counterproductive, but you can use those but when you get your mind under control, you can use those feelings from emotions to create something good.
I get pushback with that though, trying to force emotions and feelings. It's hard for me to do that.
Meaning as if
during visualization.
It's
kind of difficult for me.
Yeah.
To really force the emotion, but I could visualize, what I want. For example, a car, or, on the track a certain time. I could visualize the feeling naturally, but I can't force the feeling to be something I want.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. This is how, whenever it's a goal of mine that I need to put some feeling behind it to really make the visualization come true, I found that I almost have to separate myself from my body in the vision to see my face and to see the other people around me as if I'm like a camera or something, looking at every part of, because let's say some visions, right? If you want to visualize a certain car, that's first person. You in that car, you feeling that thing, you know what I mean? You're feeling every detail of the car, but for situations where it's bigger than you and the emotion is deeper, you kind of have to visualize you being apart from your body and looking down on the situation.
Just being an outsider of the situation.
Yeah, and looking at that expression on your face. Looking at creating that expression in your face. And then if you could visualize your face looking a certain way, I guarantee you will feel a certain way in your own physical body right here as you create that vision. Like if you could close your eyes and look at yourself and you look with a distraught look on your face, and you can create like things around that vision to where you like, whoa, like maybe you're looking at something that frightens you. And then you have a distraught look. You know what your face looks like from looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
So
It's like that's so true. Cause I'm reading a book right now, and a psychologist saying like, if you smile, you're naturally gonna feel happy, even if you force your smile.
I've heard that before, and that's the importance of it.
Yeah. So imagine you go into a visualization with a smile on your face.
Right, and you're looking at you're in the vision, you are looking at yourself, looking at your expression, smiling. And you are looking, maybe you can, to make this vision even better, you can put people around you looking at you smiling. You know what I mean? Depending on what it was. Like I remember for me, whenever the one thing that I put, the very first goal on my list, which I'm thankful to God that, and hopefully based off of how things went, I believe I accomplished it. But it was, as student council president, I am currently inspiring my peers and making a difference within my school. And in that vision, to prepare myself for that vision, I would separate myself from my body, and I would view two different angles. Me as if I'm following myself in the hallway, seeing how I'm interacting with everybody in the hallway.
That's impressive, bro.
Yeah, I mean, some of these visions, listen, the more you do it, you could get good. You could get really creative. Like it's a little TV.
You sound like a pro right now, bro.
I appreciate it, man. But you could get creative to where it's almost like a little like a little movie. You know what I mean? And then I would get the one angle of me walking in the hallway, interacting with everybody, and then I get another view of me. The front view of me smiling.
That's tough, yo.
What's going on, man?
That's tough.
How you doing? You doing all right? You stand up on them grades? All right. You inspired? Tough. I know you are.
That's tough.
Because it's my vision.
That's tough, bro.
But like I have fun with this is when you're doing something good when you have that warm feeling inside when you're visualizing. I will admit it's been hard for me recently. I just started doing it again, but because I wasn't training my muscle enough, like I wasn't getting like the gym is fun when you can throw around weights and you can get max out. But
when the challenge comes, it's like, should I come today?
And then imagine, right, like if you used to going to the gym and pushing heavy weight, and then you come back and then you take like months off and then you come back and you can't do what you used to. That's also a very tough feeling, but you just have to work through it. But I'm saying, like, the reason why I'm saying all this is because these visions are supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be creative. If you don't feel nothing while you're visualizing some of this stuff, and I'm saying after a while, at first you probably won't feel anything, but after a while of doing it, if you don't feel anything, maybe that shouldn't be on your list, or maybe you should ask God why I don't feel nothing. Yeah, like, bro, after a while, even the things that were such long shots that I probably wouldn't even share with anybody because it was a long shot, but like it's okay to throw a few long shots on there.
Yeah.
Like even those, I could feel
something. You gotta dream big, bro. You gotta think big, man. I
could feel
to
something.
Obtain big.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Visualization is it's like bringing your mind, your heart, and your soul together to create something beautiful. You bring your mind because you need to train your mind to focus. Your soul is who you are, who God made you to be. Hopefully your goals are in line with your
soul purpose.
Your soul purpose. And then your heart is that feeling that you get from the visualization. It brings everything together.
And that's everything, the feeling. Like,
yes.
That's what we live for, the feeling, man. The feeling of having fun.
Right.
The feeling of being in your new Ferrari. The feeling of giving somebody $100 for Christmas, or
right.
The feeling of giving a homeless guy a sandwich, or just the feeling of being able to make a
difference.
A difference.
Yeah.
And change someone's life.
That's the thing, man. And obviously at first what I found when I first started, the ones about material things, like the one about that car I really wanted, which was like a used like Volkswagen GTI. I just love those. But then I realized I was too tall for it. But those usually the ones about the material things.
Them junks fast, right?
You could tune them. You could tune them and get in and do what you want. I mean, you know, I just like the aesthetic of the car. But then I'm like, you know, I'm still growing like 6'4", like, and my family was like, yo, don't get that. Like, you will look funny. You will look funny getting out of that car. Like my brother Micah was like, I will clown you every time you pull up in that car. I mean, and that's not why I didn't get it, but I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I am tall. But it's like, the thing is, the material things, those are the easiest to visualize at first, and those probably create the most feeling. But as you do it more, you're going to start feeling those ones that are bigger than you, that are bigger than material. The ones about inspiring people, the ones about getting up and speaking to people, the ones about writing a book, the ones about, and then let's say if your goal is to write a book, you might visualize yourself after the book already released at a press release, talking to the people about the book, talking to people about how successful the book has been and what that book means to you. I mean, it could be, hell, it might be, maybe you started a podcast and you got that person that you always looked up to come on to your podcast. Who knows?
And then at the same time, like, this is training your subconscious, and it's really going to reflect on your outer reality.
Yes.
The visualizations.
Yes.
Because you are what you think about, bro. So
exactly.
It's like, this whole time you're visualizing every day, you're making it a habit. You're journaling, you're doing that, whatever.
It's becoming you.
It's becoming you, and your subconscious is figuring out ways it could
to bring it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Thank you. Because I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, like, yeah, man. Yeah, that's how it is. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So the more you think about this stuff, it's like you're training yourself. And then even, like, you know, you're not going to be thinking about I know for me, like, I wasn't thinking it, like, I was on vacation when I first started visualizing. So I think visualizing at night is probably more powerful because you go to sleep and your subconscious is thinking about the last thing you were thinking about. And it's like a loop.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then you wake up and you might not be thinking about it, but you fed your mind that before you went to sleep.
So that's what you're gonna wake up in, and then imagine if you mix that with the affirmations. This is why affirmations is so powerful too.
Talk about that.
I mean, I do affirmations a lot, man. Affirmations really get your mood going and really makes you feel worthy of a goal you want. You know.
That's one I need to get up on.
Yeah, you need to get into affirmations. And also, bro, I want you to read this short book. It's only like 27 pages.
Okay.
It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. 27 pages.
Okay.
One of the most powerful books I ever read. I read it twice now. But
27
it's like
pages.
27 pages. I read it twice.
Wow.
So it's like every time I read it again, I learn something new and I get reminded of something new. And I think you should just check it out, bro. Really.
I definitely will.
As a Man Thinketh.
I definitely will. I appreciate
it's a small
the recommendation.
book, man.
Yeah. Yeah, folks. So those are some so we talked about visualization, some ways that you could get into it. Tyhir gave me a recommendation. I recommend you guys read that as well. And in addition to Visualization by Peter Adams. That's a big one, very big one. I encourage people, just listen to the audiobook if you don't want to buy the physical book. And I think the audiobook, it might be more impactful because the narrator was really good. The narrator was so good that I thought it was his book. And he was so good that I had my headphones on, as he's telling you these goals and then talking about how things happen, he's so good at portraying it that you feel like you could see what he's talking about. You could the book.
I love Audible.
Yeah,
and I like physical reading too. Like,
yeah,
I feel like Audible could just put you in that zone. You know what I mean? Like, it could get you thinking a way you want to. Like, say for example, I want to get into real estate, and I could just listen to an Audible, and now all of a sudden I'm visualizing this is what I'm gonna do with my first property. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna make my bathroom like this.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna fix it up this type of way to get extra income on the back end. You know what I mean? Like just visualizing. Audiobooks makes you visualize at high and quality pace with precision, bro.
I like how you worded that, man. Yeah, for sure. It's like you get a good narrator and you immerse yourself in an audiobook. It's like it's helping you to train yourself to visualize. Because I mean, by learning about visualization, you're listening to this narrator who's it's like a guided visualization to prepare you to create your own visualization.
Exactly.
Yeah, yep. So I encourage you guys to read that. But yeah, man, like it's so many ways, but visualization is a major tool. If you can, it's cool to adapt it into everyday life, but it's kind of unrealistic because if you're getting quality visualizations, I don't know if it's something you could do every day for a whole year, is it?
I don't know.
But I don't think so.
Anything is, everybody's different, man.
Yeah.
You might have to do it, or you might not have to do it.
And if you can do it, like if there's somebody who listens to this and pulls this technique off for more than like 3 weeks, please let me know. Like I want to know. Whatever you have in you,
I want to know.
I need some of that.
Yeah, like the results of that.
Yeah, because if you can do that, you're really setting yourself up. Like I would say, for every day that you visualize,
but you gotta mix that with the action too.
Right. I think for every day that somebody visualizes, it sets them up for like 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. I think that's how powerful it is. Like if you visualize for a day, if you visualize all your goals for a day, I think you could probably be good for maybe a week or two, and then you come back and do it. Because the thing is, if I did like 14, 15, 16 days straight, and then I noticed that over the months I didn't have to visualize, but it's like I'm getting deja vu right now.
Yeah,
I wonder why. Oh, that's right. I visualized this. Or wow, I'm getting deja vu, but this is more than what I expected. Like I didn't visualize that. I didn't think I was gonna get that. But thank you, I'll take it.
Bro, it's like the three bullets I want to put here from me. What I'm saying, you're setting yourself up for great success if you could limit distractions, visualize, and take action. Those three right there, you're on a good path, man. That if you could limit distractions and really focus,
right,
you could visualize, and then that visualization will drive you to take action.
Yeah, that one where you
That's
said
the
limit
big three.
distractions, that's major because you're not going to be able to visualize if you have a bunch of distractions around you.
Yup, give me a pound on that one, bro. That's facts. Y'all gotta understand that.
How's it that? But yeah, you're not going to be able to because another thing is like some things I do to prepare myself to focus. Like I said, I warm myself up, but then also I listen to like spiritual instrumentals. You can find many different type of instrumentals. I don't encourage something that's real punchy with a lot of bass. I encourage something that's like that soothing. Yeah. I encourage, and when you get really good, you could find like certain songs that match with certain visions in certain situations. Like that's how I knew I was getting good. I was changing the camera angles. I was playing with the soundtrack. I was positioning my actors. I was really directing that thing, man.
Yo, my son was a director.
I was a director, man. I knew I was getting good at visualizations. When I was playing with the soundtrack, I was like, maybe I'll walk down this hallway because this one will look.
Director right here.
Yeah, man. I mean, you could get real creative with it, man. If you went, and it becomes fun when you visualize enough to where it can.
You gotta make it to where it's fun, man.
Yeah, because and it's like I said, it's not gonna be fun at the very beginning, but when you stick with it, man, it's just gonna be amazing, the results.
Yo, and then when you really get to that point, you're really gonna be like, yo, I visualized all this, like.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I've been in this situation. I dreamed about this situation.
Right.
That's what you should be wanting to say if you do this correctly. Because that's what's going to happen.
Is what's going to happen. And when it does happen, don't be like me. I remember after a while of just accomplishing things that I visualized and then accomplishing things that I didn't visualize, but it was an add-on. I'm like, damn, I did this. I'm Mr. Director.
I could chill.
Yeah, I'm on some Ryan Coogler. I did this. I did this, man.
Chill, but that's not how it is.
I could chill. I did, but the danger is, I said I did this. I directed this. God allowed me to. God put me in those positions, but for this is the power of visualization. This is what we want you to be careful of. It's so powerful that you might start to believe that everything is happening because you visualized it, when really it's God that put those things on your heart to visualize. So that's the thing. Visualization is so powerful that if you leave the prayer aspect out of it, it can become dangerous because you're going to accomplish those things. I mean, there are plenty of people who aren't faith-based, that aren't spiritual in any way, that can do this because it comes down to willpower. But you have to thank the one who gave you that willpower to continue. You know what I mean?
You got to thank your creator.
Exactly.
You didn't make your own mind.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that happened to me. And I remember during COVID, when there wasn't anything else to accomplish. I'm just sitting there. Instead of visualizing what's next, I'm visualizing what I already did and bigging myself up. Oh, I did that. Visualizing. Oh yeah, I remember I did this, and because it was senior year.
It feels good.
It
feels unbelievable, man.
Yeah, like I saw all of these visions come to pass, and then COVID struck, and there's no more pressure. There's nothing to do. Hell, everybody watching Netflix. I'm watching Malachi's senior year documentary, visualizing it. And I talk about it, right? I'm in college. I mean, I'm working towards my next visions, but it took me obviously I have fun with the visions, but I pray after, because it's like I want to thank the one who's given me the creative mind to bring these in, the willpower to visualize this stuff. And be on the lookout, because there's some visions out there that are going to come to pass. And same for you.
Yeah. This
podcast, is one of them. We could talk about it, but it's all right. You'll see. But that's the thing. Don't forget to pray, because it's like, it's not that I forgot to pray. Like, I will pray. Back when I did that 14 days straight. I started the first 7 days I was in Virginia, and then the rest I continued at home before the school year. I prayed with every session. But when the school year started and these visions were actually coming to pass, I wasn't praying as much.
That happens to me too.
Yeah.
It's like when I accomplish something big, like I every day I wake up and give gratitude to the Lord, but it's like I'm not really going into conversation,
right?
Because I'm so stuck up in the moment of what I just did, when really you just gotta move on and really keep God in your plans at all times.
Right.
I do that, but it's just the communication side, like praying.
Yeah.
Like I might go to sleep, might be too tired, go to sleep and don't pray.
That's what everybody, man. It's almost like, it's almost like you take advantage of the hand that's feeding you so much, to the point to where
it's human nature.
Yeah, you think that you're feeding yourself, when really, if that person takes that hand away, which will happen
occasionally.
It will happen. Like, if you start to believe that it's you will quickly be reminded who's the real director.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been through it. My first year of college was very rough, because I'm still trying to be, this person who's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, this person who's self-led and self-made. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I want to let people know I'm a Christian, but it's like I wasn't really fulfilling my obligations. And I was just trying to reap the benefits without doing things the right way. Yeah, like, I was putting in work, but it was work for me. It wasn't work for the kingdom. It wasn't work for, like, this is work for.
This is kingdom work.
This is kingdom business, man. We talked about this, man. Yep. So you had a quote that you told me. I really liked it.
I already said it though.
Oh, you did?
If you could see it in your mind, you could have it in your hands.
That's major. Can you say it one more time?
If you can see it in your mind, if you could visualize it in your mind, you could get it in your hands.
I like that.
One more time. If you could see it in your mind, you can see it in your hands. And that is episode 11 of the Infinite Charge podcast, man.
It is. This is a great one.
It's
Episode 11. Folks, let's get to work. And don't just visualize. Like, do the visualizations and then do the work. Yeah. Do the visualizations and do the work. But, yeah, this is episode 11 of the Infinite Charge podcast, The Power of Visualization. This is another great one. Tune in next week on Saturday for our Christmas special.
Christmas special, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going to be
for everybody with the low attention spans. We're going to be summarizing our best moments, our best clips of the Infinite Charge podcast. So your lazy ass could watch it and get charged, and hopefully your lazy ass again give charge off to the next person next to you, man. With the holiday spirit, lazy ass. So, yeah.
So you sound, listen, folks, he not drunk, he just tired. Yeah. Tune into that, man. That's gonna be a good one. It's not gonna be as content driven as you expect. It's gonna be a human it's gonna be me and Ty conversating like how we usually conversate. It's not gonna be like some overarching topic or anything. I mean, it will be a compilation at the end for people to listen to for our best moments. But we just want to connect with you guys and connect for Christmas, which is a very special day.
Be like a 15
10
minute.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 11 of the Infinite Charge podcast. Be easy, stay charged,
and most importantly, stay blessed, man.